Okay, hi, can everybody hear me? I make it 1:15, so I guess we'll make a start. My name is Nicola Pearson, and You Can't Manage What You Don't Measure is the title of my seminar today. And what I'm really going to try and get over to you is that having really good quality management information is absolutely critical to your business. It basically gives you control. You can have the best product, the most delicious food, but if you're charging the wrong price for it, and if you don't have the information that will let you know that, then your business isn't going to be around for very long. Now, to give you a bit of background about me, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a partner in a practice called Westbury, and a lot of the bread and butter work for clients is compliance. We produce accounts, tax returns, the usual things you'd expect from accountants. But really, that isn't information that clients particularly value. It's generally at least 12 months out of the date by the time we see it. And although it's necessary, they don't really thank us for it. So what we actually get really excited about doing with clients is business development work. And that's where we sit down with clients, we analyse the numbers from their business, the stuff that's going on right now, and we look at what's going on, and we see how we can help them and how they can grow their business. Restaurants and the hospitality industry is particularly interesting to me. I think numbers are obviously important to all businesses, but for restaurants, margins are really critical, and small differences can have a big effect on the business. So it's an area where I feel that we can make a real difference. So many business owners, though, spend their days firefighting. You're running around trying to keep your customers happy, you're dealing with staffing issues, you're dealing with supplier issues, and actually what you don't do is sit down, look at the results from your business, analyse how things are doing, think about action plan going forward. So why is good quality management information so important? Well, first of all, it helps you to plan. So this can be something really simple, like having a look at what the best-selling items on your menu have been so that it helps you to plan for changes on your menu in the future. However, it's more than just that. By looking at the results from the business, you can see the areas where things need to change. But big changes can be scary and they can have dramatic effects on your business. So when we do business development work with clients, what we try and do is identify areas where we can make small changes, and then we measure and we monitor the results and see how it affects the business. And if it's positive, we move on and we make the next small change. And by doing this, step by step, small tweaks by small tweaks, you can gradually and cumulatively make a big difference to the business without taking those big risks. It can also help with decision making. So, for instance, if business isn't going particularly well, one of the knee-jerk reactions can be to start slashing prices, putting on promotions in order to try and increase sales. But there's the old adage, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. And what you often find is that promotions don't really help business long term. If you just have a look at an example here. So if you've got good quality management information to start with, if you know that on average you sell 50 units a day, you're selling them for say £10, so your average daily sales are £500, and you'd also know that your gross profit percentage is around 70%, so you know that your gross profit is around £350. If you decide that in an effort to drum up business you're going to offer a 10% discount to your customers, then you put this promotion on and you expect that you'll get a 10% uplift in your sales. So therefore you'd be selling 55 units but at £9. So you can already see that actually your turnover is less than it would have been otherwise, and your gross profit is also lower. And in fact, if you work through the figures, you'd actually need to increase your sales by 16% to be in the same position that you would have been before you put the promotion on. So I think most people would say if they worked through those numbers prior to doing the promotion, they probably wouldn't have bothered going ahead with it in the first place. The other point, obviously, is if you do decide to go ahead with a promotion, what you want to be able to do is think about what your customer's call to action is going to be, how you're going to measure the effect of that promotion so that you can see if it's been worthwhile and decide whether to continue with it or not. So planning and decision making. Another good reason for having really good quality management information is to identify problem areas quickly. So, I mean, it could be something like just noting that your supplier costs have been going up over the last, let's say your packaging costs have been going up over the last 6 months. So, you need to start having a look for an alternative supplier. It could also be instances of theft or fraud. Obviously, restaurants, takeaway businesses handle a lot of cash, and cash is inherently risky. If there are small discrepancies in takings, it can often be put down to human error and that sort of thing. But if you're regularly seeing discrepancies, those amounts can start to add up. And so obviously you need to start looking into it. I think also if your staff know that you are regularly reviewing management information and looking at these small variances, then I think that also the temptation to try and get away with anything in the first place is probably going to be less. Obtaining finance. Many of the businesses that we meet looking to start up sort of restaurants, takeaways, the plan is always to roll out more units in the future. Many of them never get to that stage. I think people really underestimate how difficult it is to develop a successful catering business. But if you do get to the stage where you're looking to open up further units, then having really good quality management information can help you obtain finance for it. Obviously it's easy then to prove your good track record, and also it helps you to put together credible forecasts for the future. And that's the sort of information that banks and investors love to see. And a final point is, it's an obvious one, but obviously good quality information, you're going to have no problem meeting your deadlines for tax returns, accounts, VAT returns and that sort of thing. So it's going to help you avoid fines and penalties. Having looked at the importance of management information, I think it's also good just to sort of think about how you get that information. Obviously, as business owners, you will all be collecting information for your accountants to put together to produce your year-end accounts and tax returns. But, rubbish in, rubbish out. You need to be really accurately recording income and expenditure. So you might need to look at your accountancy systems and how you're doing that to make sure that you have the best quality information you can. Also, having it on a timely basis. Restaurants typically have large numbers of transactions going through the business. So unless you're keeping on top of these sort of things, you can end up with a big backlog, and it can be quite time consuming to catch up. And also make sure you're using all the data that you have available to you. I know, for instance, till systems, often at the back end of a till system, there are all sorts of reports and data that you can pull out, put into spreadsheets, analyse and do all sorts of things with. And often all the business owner is doing is taking a daily sales report to sort of pass on. So make sure that information is there, that it's being fully utilised. Now moving on to one of the sort of most important things that I wanted to get across today. Having collected your management information, made sure that you've got good quality accounting systems, the next thing you really need to think about is how you're going to be presenting that information in a usable format. Reams and reams of spreadsheets can be dull for anybody. I mean, I'm an accountant and I find reams of spreadsheets dull to look at. So one of the things that we do with our clients is that we look at producing a one-page plan. So just to do a quick exercise with you and have you think about your businesses just for a moment. So if you all think about your businesses and about 3 numbers that are really important to your business, and when I say numbers, I mean the labels for those numbers. So whether it's your gross profit margin, whether it's your turnover, whether it's average spend per head, whatever those numbers are that you feel are key to your business, think of the 3, and then think about whether you're measuring those 3 numbers on a monthly basis. You know, so going back over the last few months, do you have recorded somewhere what those numbers are? And if you're measuring them, are you then sitting down and discussing them on a monthly basis? Now, depending on your business, that could mean at board level, it could mean sitting at the kitchen table with a glass of wine, going through those figures and giving them some serious consideration. And having done that, do you then come up with an action plan as to how you're going to improve those figures going forward? So that's a possible sort of 9 points there for your things. So I don't know whether anyone can say hand on heart whether, you know, 9 out of 9 is what they're achieving at the moment. And basically, if you're not, and if you're saying those figures are really important to your business, then actually what you're doing is operating based on luck. You know, you don't have any plan, you're just letting things happen. And what really successful businesses are doing is they're focusing on those numbers and they're using those numbers to help them grow their business. And this is where the 1-page plan comes in. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a plan for your business that sits on 1 page. And this is an example that we can just have a look at. The detail isn't really important because it will be different for every single business. And basically the way it works is it starts down at the bottom of the sheet and it works its way upwards. So at the bottom in the grey box you can see it says our mission, vision, goals. So where do you want your business to be? What is your ultimate aim? And again, this will be different for every business owner, but it might be that you want to be achieving a certain level of profit. It might be that you're looking for a get out route in a couple of years and you want to get your business to a state where it's valued at a certain amount so that you can look to sell. It might be that you want to open another unit and that you need to be at a certain position to be able to do that. So, as I say, it'll depend on the individual business. But having decided what your vision is, you then move through the plan. The next box shows you the key underlying success drivers. So success drivers are the elements of your business that you need to excel at in order to achieve that mission. So again, it's going to be different depending on what your sort of focus is. So if your focus is having a really top quality product that none of your competitors can match, then you might be wanting to measure results around that. You might be wanting to survey your customers, see how they rate your product compared to competitors. It might be that you're aiming to have the best level of customer service, to really impress your customers and get them coming back time and time again. So you might want to be measuring things like number of customer complaints. You might want to be measuring the happiness of your team, because obviously the happier your team are, the better service they're going to be giving to your customers. And for each of the success drivers that you're measuring, in the next column along you see you're looking at what the actual score for that month has been compared to what your target is. And then we've got the key actions on the far side. So having seen how you're performing that month. You're then planning for what you need to do going forward to improve those results. Maybe that you're meeting your targets and actually all you need to do is keep on top of it. Or it may be that you're falling short. It may be that you've had too many complaints this month and therefore you think you better look at doing some training with your staff, that sort of thing. Having looked at these success drivers, we then move up to the key sales drivers and cost drivers. Now these are the key figures, so there won't be too many of them, and there'll tend to be more sales drivers than there will cost drivers because most businesses are driven by sales, not costs. But this could be something like, just simple like the number of customers through the door, the average spend per customer, that sort of thing. And then moving on from that, we look at your key results, and these are the results that are going to show you how close you are to reaching your mission that you set out at the bottom of the sheet. So things like your profit, your turnover, your gross profit margins. So because it flows through, it takes you from your vision through the stages that you need to really make your business excel at, to show you what the key results are and whether you're achieving them or not. And so the real benefits of using this, it's simple and understandable. It's on one sheet of paper, there's not reams of figures to look at, everything's clearly laid out. So it's easy to understand. It helps you to identify the areas that you need to work on. Obviously where you set yourself targets, it's clear whether you're achieving them or not. There's not too much there, so it can be easily updated and quickly done so it's not taking up too much of your management time. And it forces you to take action, which is always the hardest thing of all, because it's there in black and white in front of you what you've said you need to do, and so it makes taking the next step and actually doing those things that little bit easier. What we encourage clients to do is to share this with their team. It's not a bit of management information to be locked away in the drawer for the director's eyes only. The idea is it should be shared with the staff, put on the staff notice board, that sort of thing. Because if you can get your team to understand where you're trying to get your business to, why you're doing the things that you're doing, then the chances are they'll buy in that little bit more and be more prepared to make some of the changes that you want, do the things that you're asking them to. And on that level it's also a brilliant motivational tool, because if people can see that they're working towards a target and actually getting closer to achieving it, then they're going to feel good about what they're doing. So having been through that, what do you need to do next? Well, we've thought about the fact that the numbers are key to your business. You need to give some thought to your accounting systems and whether they're giving you the right information on a regular basis. And then, come up with a one-page plan of your own and start using it. Thank you very much. If anyone's got any questions, happy to take questions or come up and see me. You've all got some sweets on your seat. We've got a business book that you can download that expands on some of these ideas in more detail. So please go ahead and download that. I also have some hard copies to get away if anybody doesn't like ebooks and would rather have something physical to have a look at. Okay, many thanks for listening.